Hey, everybody. Once again, this is Micah Lieberman, and I'm going to pronounce my name. Deena, you know me, but on some of my videos, my friends from Europe, I'm from India and from China, call me Mika, but I'm Micah, like Micah, and you know that because you're Deena. Everybody, this is Micah Lieberman from SCOPE and from ClinEco. We are active, obviously, in the clinical research space. We're always kind of building community, and Deena and I have been doing this together for a long time. If you don't know Deena, Deena is the VP of Site Choice at TPS, which stands for Transformative Pharmaceutical Solutions, but everybody calls it TPS. And Deena has been involved with SCOPE forever. And I think roughly, Deena, I'm going to say you've often played the role of the site voice. Is that a
Yeah,
fair statement? Yeah.
100%, always.
Okay. Okay. And along with our buddies at SCRS and a good group of people. Today, I want to ask you a question for this fun video, but we're doing this as a precursor to on Wednesday, April 16th at 1 p.m., we're hosting a meetup along with our friends from Pharma, from J&J and Organon and Bayer, a bunch of great companies from Pharma and from the site world. We're all getting together on Wednesday. Everybody's welcome. Everybody come, it's free. It's just a meetup. We're doing it, and what we're discussing is how protocol complexity impacts site success and trial outcomes. That's the topic. So why are we
Got it.
talking about that? And tell me
Yeah,
why we're
well,
doing this in the middle of our week.
site success is everybody's success. I always say that, stand by that 100%. But what I'm super excited about for this meetup is bringing sites together and sponsors together to talk about the problems, the solutions, and to frankly, storytelling. I can tell stories about when protocols were so difficult to operate, the logistics, where maybe if we would have talked about it earlier on in protocol design with the sites and getting some really candid feedback about operationalizing a study, that we could have avoided some really difficult situations for patients and for sites. So, yeah, I'm just like, when do we get to talk about these things and talk about them, with the two stakeholders that are most important for finding that solution?
Right. And I think, because at Scope, you and I and a lot of our friends from the sponsor side, from the CRO side, from the site side, I mean, way back when, early days, I mean, when Christine Pierre was first starting SCRS, I remember Christine, um, we would talk about this and it would be, let's have a candid conversation from all the stakeholders. And it's evolved. But some of the things, it's been almost 20 years. Some of these things are still being talked about.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
still saying the same things. Protocols are too complex. But I will
right.
say there has been progress where our friends on the sponsor side from the farm who come to Scope, they absolutely have gotten very good at integrating the patient voice early on, pulling the sites in early on to better understand downstream burden of
Yeah,
their protocol in general. But it's still not enough, right? I still think there needs to be things that on both
more.
sides that need to be learned, and maybe it's not that complicated. So when we do this meetup, it's very informal. It's not like Scope where you're on stage. This is just us doing this
Right.
with a small group. And we have, like I said, we have Bayer, Organon, J&J, CSL, all these great companies from
All
the
our
sponsor
site
side.
friends.
And then
Yes.
our friends from the site side. And I know also like some of the people who work closely with sites, Circuit, Advar, they're all coming, but it's informal. It is a casual conversation. Most of these people know each other. They know you, they know me. So is this conversation the same conversation or has it changed? Take 5 years ago at Scope, 10 years ago at Scope. How has it changed?
Well, I do think there's a lot of great initiatives going on in the industry that do talk about this, but yet I still see protocols with 14 blood draws or vials per visit in protocols. So we still have a lot more to do and a lot more to consider. Um, so yes, there has been change, and just let's talk about the details. Like, let's get into the devil in the details of, what we're being asked to do with our patients.
Yeah. Okay. And I think the word burden is a nice word in a way because
Burden.
I think it's vague, in a good
Yeah.
way. What is, you got to think when you're developing that protocol from the sponsor side, what does this mean way downstream? And per Ken Getz, spoke to him this week. I remember his, when he first came out and he presented that the study of like how this is already old news, but it was already big money then, and it still sounds like big money.
Yeah.
Every time you make a change in your protocol, what does it cost you in time and money downstream? And at that
Mhm.
time, I mean, that was 10 years ago, it was like $500,000
Sure.
per.
Yeah.
Then you take, so burden is not only understanding your patients, understanding your sites, but it's also understanding cost and efficiency. We want to make sure that this protocol, that the right patients get enrolled and they make it all the way through. So it's not, so I like the idea of like using that term, understanding the burden. Like that's actually good because it makes us think, what happens to my protocol as it travels, as it
The
travels.
journey, the patient journey is key. And I don't want to give it all away right now, but
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to interview some patients recently about their clinical trial journeys that they were really engaged in the study and went above and beyond, but said, I'm not going to participate again if this, if I,
If this.
if the protocol has something similar to this. And
Hmm.
that was kind of mind blowing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's perfect, Dina. We have a lot to talk about. We'll do it Wednesday, April 16th, 1 p.m. Eastern. If you go to clinico.io, it's on the homepage. It's there, and I'll drop it. We'll drop it in chat. It says Commons Connect, built bridging the gap, how protocol complexity impacts site success and trial outcomes. And you're listed as a moderator. We have a bunch of our buddies coming. It's super
Yeah.
easy, super fun, and we're going to start doing more of these. It's some of this stuff are really continue. They're really conversations that we're just continuing from a panel or something we already did at Scope or elsewhere. So, Dina, it's good to see you.
You as
Thank you
well.
for doing this,
So
everybody. Deena
excited
Bernstein.
to bring this to life with
Me
you.
too. Me
And
too.
I can't wait to see all the sites that show up and get to engage in this conversation.
Yep. And it'll be the first of many.
Yeah,
Okay. Thanks, Dina. This is Micah.
sure.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.